Hello and welcome to SPokeN SiNs. You give us 15 minutes, we'll show you a creator's soul. My name is Mr. Anderson, the voice of Written Sins, and today with us we are thrilled to have
Sam Johnson.
So Sam, tell us about your project. What brings you on here today?
Okay, so what we've got is GEEK GIRL. There was a 4-issue mini-series. Currently, the trade is on Kickstarter for pre-order. So for those who aren't aware of GEEK GIRL, it's a hot college chick. She lands a pair of Super Tech glasses on a whim, but they give her flight and super strength powers, but there's a glitch in them that's messing with her head, and the initial impact of this is it makes her super klutzy. So this is not something that goes down well with her cool clique friends. So it's kind of a flip on, you've usually got your sort of nerdy kid becomes cool superhero. This is cool kid becomes nerdy superhero.
Now that's an awesome idea. How did that come to be? Is this just something that you were watching a movie and you came up with the idea, or is it based on something?
How it came about was Image Comics ran a contest a while back where it was called Who Wants to Create a Superheroine. So it was just literally thinking of ideas for that. I came up with 3 ideas. The Ruby K GEEK GIRL, there was kind of a prototype version of that was what I came up with, and then I really liked it, so I fleshed it out, developed it, invested in it, and we've got the 4-issue mini series from Marcosia, and there'll be a second mini to come. And my intention is that after the second mini series and the trade for that, we've built the audience up enough to justify it going to an ongoing.
Well, that's awesome. I always love to hear when a creator does something and it inspires them, and this is a good sign to other creators out there. When these contests come up, sometimes just being part of them influences you to do something fantastic.
Absolutely. I mean, I find, the more you sort of do, even if it's not sort of this is going to lead to this, things spin off it. And yeah, I mean, it was, as I say, how that came about was just literally come up with ideas from this, and then I like this one so much I want to really go somewhere with it.
Oh, well, I've done a review. You know that I love this property. I think it's well done, well written. The art is there. You do a fantastic job with this.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, Carlos Granda, the artist, is terrific. It took a long time to find the right artist. He does it. It's, I mean, you can, there's geekgirlcomics.com, as well as if you go on Kickstarter and search Geek-Girl, you'll find it. There's previews on both of that, and you can see the art. And he does great, like, widescreen, but also is very good at character, the more character moments, like he brings out body language and facial expressions, and you've got a lot of female characters in this, so it's very important that they're distinguishable, and he just does a great job, and I'm pleased to say is on board for the second mini series. I've scripted the first issue, and we're waiting for a gap in his schedule, and he'll be getting on with that.
Well, I mean, let me ask you a question. This is something that I had problems with at first, and my wife luckily came out and saved me with it. How was it to write the female narrative? Did you have any problems with trying to write a female role?
No, I mean it's not something I have a problem with. It's something that comes naturally to me. I mean, I've always written female characters. I mean, not exclusively, but like another character of mine, Carbracini, voodoo junkie hit woman, who's very different from GEEK GIRL. She's appeared in a few anthologies, and there's a mini series in the works for her. So it's not a problem for me, and I've not found, the reviews have been good. There's been very few that have sort of this isn't how people talk, and I think that's when there has been that. I'm very happy with it, and a comment that has come up quite a few times is that it does feel like real people. It doesn't feel so much like a comic book, like particularly issue 2, where basically Ruby's social life is in tatters. The only friend that's sticking by her is her best friend Summer, who's actually the person driving her to be Geek Girl. Who's because Summer's all into like superheroes and stuff, whereas this is alien to Ruby. So issue 2 is very much a character issue with these two. It's them in a club before the action kicks in, and that's my favorite issue, and has been very well received. And it's very much, you know, hopefully this is like, you know, almost eavesdropping on a conversation between two girls.
Well, I think you do a fantastic job with it. And someone who's dealt with a female character and had my wife do it, I'm actually a little jealous at how naturally it seems to come to you, because I definitely need my wife to help me out with certain things. So like you said, it does come off like it's like you're a bug on a wall watching this play out in front of you. So great credit to you and your team for bringing to life something that feels so real. Speaking of so real, could you tell us how you wound up having the alternate cover for the Geek Girl with the cosplayer? How'd that come to be?
That kind of happened, just sort of like it just sort of happened. A friend of mine, Amy, is into cosplay, and she just like did a costume. I didn't even know she was doing it. She did this costume, so I was like, well, that's really good. Let's do something with that. So yeah, one of the things we've got, Geek Girl, the 4-issue mini started coming out November last year, but quite some time ago there was a Geek Girl Zero, which is a much more low-key thing. It was a different artist, Sally Thompson. It's black and white, but what that does is it sets up Ruby's world and her world as a college student in Maine, and this is where she gets her powers, which we flash back to in the miniseries. But yeah, we did a couple of very limited editions of with Amy cosplaying Geek Girl on the cover of Geek Girl Zero. They're on the Kickstarter. There's only 25 copies of each of these, but it's a cool image, yeah, and it's people will respond to it.
I love the cover that you guys have for the Volume 1 Lightning Strikes. That absolutely floored me how beautiful that was.
Yeah, well, that's Matt Nastos, who's Matt Nastos. I keep calling him Matt Olson. My apologies, Matt. Matt Olson actually worked with me in designing the sort of prototype look for Geek Girl, which is what we still use for the. You've got a sort of Geek Girl wants you pointing like, you know, the Uncle Sam image, and that's kind of the main picture for the Kickstarter. And yeah, Matt did the cover for the trade, but he's also, what we're doing at the moment is we ran a contest on the Geek Girl Facebook group for people to vote for who they'd like to see teaming up with her, and Matt's currently working on what will be a free print. We're going to be adding collector's packs to the Kickstarter with loads of limited editions and posters and stuff, and anyone that buys those will get this free limited print of the one that won the competition that people voted they wanted to see most teaming with Geek Girl was Harley Quinn. So it's going to be a Matt Olson limited print with Geek Girl and Harley, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I mean, Matt is a terrific artist.
Oh, you definitely have the art nailed. You've made your the nut that you wanted, the 651 goal. So you're at stretch goals. Talk to us about what the plan is with the stretch goals. What goes on from here? Because you've already funded.
Well, that's these collector's packs that I'm talking about. I mean, there's various limited editions of different issues going back to issue 0 as well as the miniseries. John Royal, who's the artist on Danger Girl, who he took over from J. Scott Campbell, the creator of Danger Girl, and his art is a similar style. So we've got a limited variant of issue 1 by John Royal. There's like a black and white one of that. And yeah, what I'm going to be putting together once we've got these Harley prints is a few limited collector's packs where you can get, like, you know, a bunch of variants of one and like a poster, and then you get this print for free as well. So that's, I mean, that we're just sort of gearing up for that because Matt's working on the print as we speak. So I hope to have that up by the end of the week, but certainly it will be there before the camp, because the campaign's got just over 2 weeks left. And it'll be there. And as I say, I'm really looking forward to seeing how that turns out, because Matt is I mean, I advise everyone to check out Matt Olson's art. He had a webcomic, which was even then turned into a comic called Intergalactic, and the art is gorgeous.
I mean, one of the things I've always liked about your storytelling has been how hard it was to not like the art. I mean, it's just fantastic art. Like, I mean, it's stunning. And you must have taken, like you said, you struggled finding an artist. How was that search? Because I know everyone always asks, how did you meet an artist? For me, when I dealt with some of my artists. So how did you wind up finding the right artist? Because I know you switched between 0 and 1. So how did you find the right artist for the book? Was there something specific you're looking for, or you were just randomly looking?
No, absolutely specific. I mean, Sally that illustrated the Zero issue, as I say, it's a more low key affair. It's in a college world. That's not the kind of superheroes isn't Sally's kind of book. So that worked in, you know, this sort of female focused faction of main Acorn Ridge College, but Sally was never going beyond that. She does more slice of life. She does more manga, and we needed something, you know, more widescreen. I mean, obviously the mini we've gone full color. We need a real superhero type artist, and it took a long time to find. I mean, I advertised on digital webbing and pencil jack forums quite a lot. Had someone start and flake, and then just finding the right artist for it was a long job. I mean, and it's like it had to be. I mean, you know, the Ruby is like, you know, a hot chick, and that's part of her character, so that has to come across on the page. So yeah, it took a while to do it. That's, I mean, there was a huge gap between Zero and the mini series, but as I say, Zero gets flashed back to in the mini. But yeah, it was absolutely essential to find the right artist, and Carlos Granda is the man for the job. And as I say, is that he's continuing with it is brilliant.
I mean, one of the things I get to give you a lot of credit for, and we met through social media on Facebook, is how present you are with your fans. Like you talk, you're not just hard selling people. You're trying to invite people to be part of your fan base. How has that gone for you? Like, how did you find the right mix of promotion versus selling?
Well, I think that the main thing that we do is when I'm sort of like, if I'm inviting someone, if I specifically send someone a message or post on their wall, it's to invite them to sign up for the mailing list, and for doing that, they get the free digital preview comic. So I'm not, you know, going straight in trying to sell something. I hope that they will, you know, dig that enough that it almost sells itself. So it's good. I mean, you know, generally when I post these things, what I tend to do is I post in all like Facebook groups. I mean, Facebook is my big thing, and if someone likes picture, a Geek Girl promo, then I'll invite them to join the mailing list and say you get this free digital comic. And you know, and it's well received. They're generally thankful that it happens, and yeah, say it's like, you know, it's, they can then see whether or not they want to buy the comic. And also the mailing list, you get, you know, all kinds of stuff coming off it, like you know, interviews that I do, and it'll be the first look at this Geek Girl and Harley thing on there. And the Facebook group as well is very good. Like we had this poll on there for who people wanted to see, so you know, the audience are involved. It wasn't just like I'm just going to team up with someone. It's like, who do you want to see? And Harley Quinn was the one that easily came out on top, so that's the one we're doing.
Well, I mean, the engagement with the fans is awesome that you do. I've always seen that you've had a strong following. And speaking of followings, have you been part of the Comic-Con season, and how has it been for you?
Yeah, I've just, because I say the mini, you know, it took a long time getting the mini done, and the first issue came out in November, so I'm kind of just properly getting into that now. I've got Marcosi, the publisher, are at London SuperCon, which is August 25th to 27th. So I'm going to be there with that. And that's the collection, which is, you know, the thing that's available for pre-order on Kickstarter, actually launches on the first day of that convention. So that will be the first opportunity to, you know, pick it up physically in person. And we've set up that I'll be doing like a, you know, an hour or so signing on each of the 3 days of the con. So that should be fun. And yeah, I've just set up, if anyone wants to add me on Facebook, I'm always adding people. And And yeah, I've just set up an event for that. So also I'm looking to do some sort of deal in advance with this once we've got this Harley print done, where if you pre-order, I'll try and I haven't worked out the full details of this yet, but there'll be some sort of thing where if you pre-order via this event page, you can pick up something extra when you come to the con to get your book.
I mean, that's fantastic. And being someone, this is going to be your first Comic-Con that you're going to go?
Oh, no. I know. It's, I mean, I've done, I mean, Geek Girl Zero had like 3 printings. So I did plenty of that. And I've got my comic that's co-created with Mike Gagno, the Almighties, which is a comedy superhero team. So I've done plenty. It was just, there was a gap where I wasn't, because it was focused on getting all the mini series done, which now it is. And then now I'm rolling out the convention appearances.
Well, I mean, as someone who lives in America and who sees a different Comic-Con structure, give us a little idea of how the Comic-Cons are over across the pond. How are they?
I don't think there's all that much of a difference. I mean, there's less of a big, obviously we've just had San Diego. You don't get anything on that scale. But I mean, this London SuperCon is a big one for, and yeah, I mean, this is one thing I would say. I think it's now some of the cons, it's kind of it's very much immersed in media. I think the cons generally tend to be more comic, but you have a big sci-fi element there as well. A con I did the other week, there was like a guy from Game of Thrones, a guy from Empire Strikes Back, so but there's that crossover market. But like the London SuperCon I think is very much comics, and some big guns there. Brian Michael Bendis is probably the biggest name that's going to be there, and I've never done it before. I'm looking forward to it, and like, yeah, Marvel's going to be there. Marvel's going to have a presence there. Marvel is someone I'm very interested in working for, and they're going to be doing like a thing about how to pitch for Marvel. So yeah, that should be good. But yeah, I think I don't think there's a huge difference, other than the bigger US ones that tend to be more media oriented. You don't get quite that degree.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you on that. And for some reason, our Facebook audience left us. I had a glitch, so I'm just going to turn that on while we're talking. But I'm on the Geek Girl page itself and just showing off some stuff about that and how cool it is. Okay. Here's the poll, and I'm doing a limited print run for the Kickstarter. I find it interesting that you put in Gwenpool. Gwenpool is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Gwenpool came out second. Now, the people in that poll, some suggested by the people in the group, some I put in to get the ball rolling. But yeah, Gwenpool proved popular. I know Gwenpool does have a following and gets cosplayed quite a lot. So the thing is, that's what we were doing for this first print. We might return to that poll and remove Harley from it, because that's done. And do another one. That's certainly not unlikely, because it's quite a fun thing to do, and it's nice to have that audience interaction. So yeah, for fans of Gwenpool, we could get to see Gwenpool and Ruby team up. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool. Let me ask you one final question, because I know you're a busy guy, and I know you got a lot going on with the Kickstarter and all that, and I don't want to hold you up all day. But let me ask the one question that I deal with just with my title, Fetish Babies, and the whole idea of handling female characters and the sexuality of it. Do you ever get any blowback for her costumes or anything like that? And how do you deal with that kind of comment? Because we're very hyper focused on people telling people what's right and wrong in this day and age. Have you found anything about that, dealing with the female superhero?
Yeah, it happens. I mean, what I would say is Ruby's sexuality is part of her character. You'll never see me do, like you sometimes see in like Facebook groups, pin-ups where someone has done like a Wonder Woman, and it's in a very sort of sexual pose, which is not the character. So anything you see image-wise with Ruby is the character. Now, you know, some people aren't happy with it, you know, a skimpy costume, and that's fine. But you know, I know what I'm doing with this. I know this character. I'm developing this character. This is a character I'm invested in. It's not, you know, purely for eye candy. I mean, the whole hook of it is that she's this, you know, hot, popular college chick, and then her life gets spun on its head. So you can't have one without the other. That's the book. So you know, if you don't, if you're someone that doesn't like to see, you know, women wearing skimpy superhero costumes, then that's fine. But it's you know, there's a lot more to it than that. And as I say, everything you see of Ruby, even down to, you know, like variant covers where other artists are involved, this is the character. I'm not portraying her in any way that betrays that.
Well, I think that's fantastic. And I do think that we live in a culture where people don't get that comics are also a lot fantasy. But I mean, I always make this argument. If women were so offended by the outfits that these characters were wearing, would they be dressing up with them at conventions every weekend?
You know, well, I mean, it's down to the individual. I mean, you know, obviously some people are very happy with it. You know, that you've got a huge amount of girls that like to cosplay as Harley. You know, it's either something you're into or it's not. But what I'm saying is it's organic with Geek Girl. It's not something that's painted on to, you know, as a sort of sex sells thing. This is the character. And like Summer is her best friend, is the one that actually designed the costume for her. She's the fashion designer. She's the one that's pushing her into being a superhero. And you know, Summer's like designed this costume with the idea that, you know, these two girls like to go out and look hot, and that's kind of what she was going for when she created it.
Well, I think it's done fantastically well. I think that if anyone's being negative to you about it, I'd have to say I don't think they've read the story.
Like, yeah, I mean, there's always that thing. I mean, there's something that I had to feel quite a bit back in the day with Geek Girl Zero was, it's like, you know, the description of the character, this isn't a geek. But that's, you know, that's the story where Ruby starts out. She's not necessarily, you know, she's somewhat so self-centered. She's something of an it girl. She's not the most likable person, but the effects of these glasses on her, because it's the chip in them that gives her powers, but the glitch in that chip is affecting her in ways she's not necessarily aware of. So we're you know, it's a character journey here. So who Ruby K is at the start and where she's going are different. I mean, by the end of the mini series, she's in quite a different place to where she was in the beginning. At the beginning, she's, you know, it's me, and you know, at the end, where she's managed to get the confidence up to take on this lightning storm supervillainess threat. That's you know, that's a selfless act. She's doing it because if she doesn't do it, Lightning Storm is going around blowing buildings up and killing people. And if Ruby doesn't stop her, because Neon Girl, the main superhero of Weatherlove, has been taken off the map, if Ruby doesn't do it, then it's bad news for people. So she's yeah, she grows.
Well, I think you do a fantastic job. I think that's the perfect place for us to wrap up and tell everyone the final pitch. Tell them why they should go to Facebook. I mean, not Facebook, Kickstarter today and back this project. Give them the elevator pitch.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, the setup for the book is, as I've alluded to, Geek Girl. She's got these powers on a whim. Her friends made her a costume. She's flying around. She doesn't know what she's doing. Is this what I'm meant to do? Talking to Summer on her cell phone. Then Neon Girl gets blasted through this billboard by this lightning storm villain who's come out of nowhere and is hospitalized. And Neon Girl is like, well, you sure dress like a superhero. I'm out of the picture. You need to do something. So she's landed in this situation almost by accident. And this is either going to make or break Ruby K.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. I look forward to already the next volume. I can't wait to finish reading this. I haven't read issue 4 yet. So I look forward to seeing that when I get the book. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Rob.
Oh, you're welcome anytime. And like I said, this is on Kickstarter right now. It's time for you guys to go out and back it. It's a fantastic project. And this is the quick way to catch up with the story. Get all 4 issues in one place.
Yeah, just the only thing I'd say, well, if you're searching it on Kickstarter, make sure you get the hyphen and Geek-Girl, because I know on some search engines, I know on Comixology, it doesn't show up without that. So get that hyphen in.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for the time today. And
Thank you.
we're out of here.